So we're turning our focus now to the Black economic empowerment policy of South Africa. And for this conversation, we'll be talking to Gerhard Papenfus, and he is the CEO of the National Employers Association of South Africa. What he says is that this BEE policy is gradually draining the country's resources. Now, you do remember that it was instituted post-apartheid in order to redress the imbalances of the past and ensure that the majority of South Africans who are Black actually get involved in and are included in the economic areas of South Africa as well. But Mr. Papenfus says that what BEE does is it primarily enriches a small elite while causing significant value destruction. According to him, the BEE policy framework has fallen short in promoting entrepreneurship and upskilling large segments of the population. And in addition to that, it limits its impact on the overall economy. He joins us this afternoon from the National Employers Association of South Africa. Gerhard Papenfus, welcome. Good to have you with us on Africa in Business.
Hello, Tammy. Thank you for your invitation.
So what you've done is you've highlighted some of the main structural flaws in the current BEE framework that, in your view, prevent broad-based economic empowerment and actually the benefits that are supposed to be derived from this. Could you highlight those for us?
Well, as you said, after apartheid came to an end, something had to be done, and this scheme was introduced, but it became worse as it was progressing, and the aim was to uplift everybody and give those that was excluded in terms of the previous dispensation access to the economy, make them partakers of the economy. Now this hasn't happened. Well, the point is, and you've said it, those that's now benefiting through the system, and not only benefiting once over and over and over, is few very distinguished people, which has accumulated extraordinary wealth, and 99%, and perhaps not that high, but let's say 90%. Of the population is left behind. So, this need to stop, and a new system need to be developed in which the broader population must get the advantage of.
So am I hearing you correctly, Gerhard? Are you saying that BEE is still a policy that has merit as far as implementation in South Africa is concerned, with redressing of the past, but just not in its current form?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The question is immediately, let's put ourselves back into 1996. The immediate question is, the economy is largely in the hands of white people at that stage. What are we going to do? So you have to do something. And you have to introduce a system that has that benefit the most people possible, with lasting impact, and it must be sustainable. Now, what happened is that there was a quick fix model introduced that people said, I want to get rich. What other people built over years, I want to do in a short time. Now that is actually not possible. It is just in the business world that is just not possible. When money goes away very quickly if you don't understand it, and you don't know how to make it, and you don't know how to manage it. And what you see is often the bling from people that is so entangled in the system. And that guy, if you look at him and you think, he doesn't understand where it comes from. But the thing is, it's not sustainable, and it can leave you very easily. And it will, because the country is bankrupting. This is bankrupting the country.
And I'd like to go into that a moment, if I may.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about this concentration of wealth among the elites. What
Yeah.
impact does that have on, first of all, social inequality and economic inclusivity in South Africa?
Well, it is increased inequality. There's a very large portion of the population, very, very large portion of the population that's excluded. Now that holds huge socioeconomic risks. It's not sustainable. You know, when you have an unemployment rate of almost half the population, you know, how do you feed them, and with what money? So we're heading for a train crash here. So you know we have to change that, and the model that needs to come must be a model that add value. Currently money is circulating. You know, if a government institution or a semi-state institution set out a tender for the purchasing of a particular item, and you can purchase that item from the supplier for 1,000 rand, but when it reach the entity that buys it, the client, that thing goes for 20,000 rand. I'm just playing with figures now. Now the difference, that 19,000 rand, that is bankrupting the country, and that 19,000 is enriching individuals that's making no contribution and adding no value. That is bankrupting the country. That is bankrupted many institutions. That has to stop. It has to stop. You need to add value.
Let's do this then, Gerhard, as we end our conversation this afternoon, and look at some of the alternative options that you are putting in place.
Yeah.
We've discussed the overall impact on economic growth, you know, not encouraging entrepreneurship, and upskilling, and no transfer of skills, as you've mentioned. But what are the options?
Well, you know, this isn't simple. I will be the first one to say, you know, somebody that says there's a simple new model, there will have to be sacrifices made, but there's a few things that need to happen. You cannot reduce the participation of certain people to advance other people. You can't do that, because that's why things go backwards. You mustn't prejudice certain things. We must create new things. The new things need to happen in areas where there's needs, because that is a natural business principle. You cannot just operate in an area where there's no need. And
give
what's
us
happening
examples.
with these things?
Give us some practical examples. What areas are you referring
well,
to?
let me give you an example. So many contracts is engaged in that is artificially created needs, and money is pumped into that. You need to introduce money, pump money or provide money and invest money in areas where there's a need for the upliftment of society in a particular area. Then you must go out in contract. You must do that on the basis of quality of service and price. Now, and there must be no corruption whatsoever. It needs to be clean. Now, certain contracts are artificially created. If you go back to the start of this whole thing, when you look at the weapons scandal, there was no need for that. That was artificially created. If you look at the way Eskom has got into so much trouble, and South Africa suffered so much as a result of this, there was needs created, and those needs weren't serviced in a particular proper way. It has cost us billions, and we still struggle. So let
me ask you this. I hear your argument around that. So with the model that you are proposing now, you're saying, yes, the finances and the tenders need to go to places where there are legitimate industries that need to be serviced, and that the best let the best business person win, let the best tender win, is what you're saying. But we also cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that because there is a deficit of skills and infrastructure within the black community, those black businesses will still need to be capacitated in order to be able to compete with traditionally white businesses. are you then advocating, or are you open to government then assisting those black businesses that they too may stand a chance at bidding for those contracts on equal ground?
I am in favor of that, and that's what I said. Something needs to be done. But what has happened in the current system? People were advantaged, a privileged small group, and we did not get anything in return for that.
All right.
That is the problem. That's where the problem lies. Not let's build something in for somebody to bid on equal level. But this is not what happened.
All right, we'll have to leave it at
That's
that, Mr. Papenfus. We thank you so much for your insight and breaking down the BEE policy. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for calling me, and thank you for the opportunity.
It's been great. Thank you so much. He's the CEO of the National Employers Association of South Africa, Gerhard Papenfus. And certainly this debate around black economic empowerment, is it working? How should it be adjusted? What impact does it have on, the average black man on the street, on the economics of the country? All of that remains under discussion and evaluation as the country continues to rebuild itself 30 years down the line.